The Halicarnassus Theatre, which was built on the southern slope of Göktepe on soft bedrock, is 50 meters above sea level. It faces the ancient city, the Aegean Sea, and Kos Island. The theatre, built in the middle or late 4th century BC, is one of the oldest and most authentic examples of ancient theatres. Built on a hillside, having a horseshoe form and its seating area separating from the stage building, Halicarnassus Theatre has all the early theatre features. The Halicarnassus Theatre is similar to the Epidavros Theatre, Greece's most impressive and acoustically perfect theatre. Professor Mehmet Çuhadar, who carried out excavations and restorations in the ancient theatre, stated that the Halicarnassus Theatre was older than the Prien Theatre and dated it to the Mausoleos period. The Danish group, excavating in Bodrum for many years, suggested a later date for the theatre. According to the ancient writers, at the end of the 4th century BC, Halicarnassians dedicated a statue for a Halicarnassian tragedy writer on the Athenian Acropolis. After satrap Mausoleos, Queen Artemisia organized a drama contest in Halicarnassus, and a tragedy play named Mausoleos won a prize. Besides, a Halicarnassian tragedy actor, who tried to arrange a marriage between Alexander the Great and Ada the Younger, the nephew of Mausoleos, is also mentioned. Many tragedy writers and actors indicate that Halicarnassus had a busy theater environment since the 4th century BC. In ancient times, spectators sitting in the theater saw the great monuments of the city, Mausoleon, the Agora, the harbor, Malos Palace, and the temples of the city. In ancient times, in addition to the staging theater plays, the theater also hosted the meetings of the People's Assembly, political speeches, literary interviews, poetry, and music competitions.
In the theater area, Professor Çuhadar started excavations and continued until 1984.
In the beginning, the work focused primarily on the east and west parados walls, and continued with placing the seats in their original positions. The architectural details show that the theater's stage building underwent significant changes during the Roman period. They decorated the stage with theater masks and bullheads, and added a second floor to the stage. During the 3rd century AD, the theater was also used for gladiator and animal fights. Famous artist Zeki Müren gave a concert in Bodrum Castle in 1984, and the money was used for the restoration of the theater. Today, the stage building, the rooms used by the artists, Dionysus' altar, where sacrifices and gifts are presented to him, can still be seen. The front stage's half columns, square columns, and the back rooms are well preserved. Visitors can still see brick and mortar traces of the Roman period in some places. Reserved seats for the priests, the ruling class, the city's prominent families, and the gymnasium administrators are indicated on the steps and behind the diazoma wall separating the seats. There are 2 essential inscriptions in the theater: a dedication to Dionysus on the western gate area, and an inscription indicating the reserved places for a priestess on the wall of the diazoma. Archaeologists discovered an entry and connected corridors in the middle of the rows of seats. One of the 2 corridors found after this entrance provided the passage to rooms, and the second corridor, 9 meters deep and 75 meters long, provided entry to the theater from the west side. Architectural elements found during the excavations revealed that the stage building was subject to significant changes during the Roman and Byzantine periods. The theater had 29 rows of seats in the lower part of the seating area and about 50 rows of seats in total. The restoration of the ancient theater, which was the last phase of the ancient city walls restoration project, started in 2000 and ended in 2003. With severely damaged upper rows of seats, the theater was put in its present state by the successful excavations, restoration, and cleaning work carried out by Professor Dr. Mehmet Çuhadar and the Bodrum Underwater Archaeology Museum and the valuable contributions of various experts. Today, the ancient theater is used for concerts and various cultural activities. The ancient theater, which hosted people again after a long silence lasting for centuries, opened its gates again with Fire of Anatolia group show presenting Anatolian dances. The theater, which had seating 10,000 people seating capacity in ancient times, can hold 4,000 people today. In the theater, radial stairs make the audience's distribution.
In 2005, Athens University students, invited by the Bodrum Chamber of Commerce, staged Aristophanes' famous play Lysistrata following its Greek original. Thus, 2,350 years after its construction, an ancient play was staged in Bodrum Theatre.